how you interact with your wife is how your daughter will expect her husband to interact with her, right? And so forth and so on. If you could
That's
create that
important.
over time and educate our community, and educate our people, and educate our friends and family, and spread it as much as we can, if we know that we're doing good in this world,
Yep.
just be able to spread that so much that over time, we may never see it ourselves, but over time, you'll begin to see stronger unity
Yeah,
amongst
you're
humanity,
right. You're
you
right.
know?
You're right.
Kurz looking clean with his whole sales team. We ain't come to talk nonsense, it's all about the process and profits. Until we make $1 billion from deposits, he never slack and teach him to take action. So far from whack and never gave up his passion. Can't catch him lacking, dapper down on his fashion. He forever stacking, running up all the cash. Real estate mastermind, check out his book, he gave us the blueprint. Really can't hate the grind, put in the work, no making excuses. Quitting's a waste of time, you made it this far, don't make your life useless. Pull up and taste the wine, he got the flavor, mixing the juices.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Freedom Achiever podcast. My name is David Adam Kurz, founder of the Freedom Organization, your coaching and consulting company. And again, we bring you episode 246. This is one of the most amazing podcasts I've been able to put together, because the Freedom Achiever podcast is exactly what it is. We bring freedom achievers to the table to tell you their story so that it can affect and change your life and business, so that you too can become a freedom achiever. That is the entire goal here. You know, by listening to my podcast, if you're a consistent listener, our mission at the Freedom Organization is to change the lives and businesses of over 1 million people in a positive way. That is our mission. That is what we intend to do. So the more people that listen to these podcasts, the better we get, and the closer we get to achieving our mission. And listen, by the way, when we hit 1 million, this mission could change to 5 million. That is the goal. That is what we want to do. And so today I have the great honor of bringing Carl Christensen to the table, aka the Nice Agent. We've known each other for several years. We've met for some time ago. We haven't talked in a minute, so this conversation would be amazing. Carl, thanks for doing this with me, man.
No, thanks to you, man. Thanks to you, David. The minute I heard about it, I'm like, yes, I have to be there. And again, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, God, for bringing David back to us. So that is very important that we acknowledge this. So
Thank
yes,
you, man.
it's an honor, brother. It's an honor.
I appreciate that very much. It is, having a situation where you feel like you could have left the entire world really makes you rethink things,
I have a story for you. So I got COVID March 13, 2020, and my wife dropped me at the hospital at 2:36 in the morning. She stayed in the parking lot, and at 2:43 I flatlined.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I only found out what happened in the morning when I woke up. So the nurse was telling me, and I was like, wow. So imagine that she dropped me off, and that would have been it, And from that point forward, man, you're right. Everything changed, David.
Everything changes. When I just got goosebumps right now. Thank God for having you in this life. It makes you realize something, right? God sent you a message, but he also kept you around because you have something left to do.
Yep.
Right? If there's nothing left for you to do, then why would he give you this opportunity?
That's it.
And so it's kind of our job to figure out what that to do is. I always used to joke all the time, and I would say, man, God gives you only what he knows you can handle. And then the joke to it is, I wish he didn't trust me so much, because this is kind of
The to-do is simple, David. The to-do is impact everybody's life as much as you can on a positive note, man. That's it. That's the to-do, man. That's my mission. So before we start, I wanted to say to everybody that, when somebody influence you, but they don't even know they do. And this is where today I want to take it live. That's the reason why I came here, to say thank you to David. I met David. I remember it was a veteran little thing that you were doing back in Coral Gables, and we met because of you New World, yes, because of New World. And then I've been watching you since, man, and I'm like, this guy is doing everything that I want to do. And I'm gonna tell you, David, I wrote my first book because of you. You actually came out with your book, and I came out with mine as well. And you made me understood the power of coaching. Something that, you know, when you first started in real estate, you try, you drop, you try, you drop, and you never stick with it. And then now finally, man, 4 years, 4 years into coaching, and then my entire life changed, my entire business changed. And now I'm coaching people as well. So it's an amazing thing. So I want to say thank you to you. My entire family want to say thank you to you, man.
I really appreciate that message. That Carl, it means the world to me. You have no idea. You're right. You know, we do what we do with very little expectation of a return. Yep. And when you hear it, it's mind blowing. So thank you so much for sharing that with me, man. Thank you. I want to ask you something. Because now you're coaching and now you're changing lives. Yeah. Do you subscribe to the fact, and I do, so I'll give you the heads up, like I subscribe to this. The more I coach, the more I learn.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, because the truth is, you go, you know what? I don't know if that happens to you. You start coaching someone, and then they tells you one thing in the first 5 minutes, and the entire coaching session just changed. And then you're like, where do I go from there? You know, and right. Yeah. So definitely, man. To me, if you're not open to learning, you cannot coach anybody.
It's true. It's true. It's. So I just spent. I just went to Vegas and Arizona, and when I was in Vegas, I was the teacher because I was on stage. But when I was in Arizona, I was the student because I was attending a mastermind where I had the notebook and the pen, you know, and I consistently tell people, like, education and learning should never ever stop. And just because you consider yourself to be the coach or the educator or the influencer doesn't mean that you stop learning, because the minute that you do, you become irrelevant.
What else can you teach if you're teaching the same thing every day? Yes,
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And there are people who subscribe to like one method and that's all they do for their entire time. And eventually it just, you know, it gets old and you're chasing new people that never heard about your stuff before. Right?
Yeah, and then at the end I'll get bored before my client. So
right.
I have to grow.
Yeah, I would lose my mind, man. I'm right there with you. So tell me, you told me a really great story, and I'm hoping that you're willing to share it live. But you know, you had a very, very strong influence on somebody, and you had a very strong opportunity to understand that influence. You know, can you share that?
Yes, for sure. So we do have a very big Haitian community following me. And then out of the blue, I said, you know what, I'll pick 5 people for me to coach. And then those 5 just jump on it. And this kid just came from Haiti. You know how things are right now. And he's trying to work. He's doing everything. So I coached him once and gave him all my clues. This is what you listen to. This is what you do, and everything. And then now yesterday was our second coaching tour. And then he was like, Carl, I want to tell you something that I want to say thank you to. And I'm like, but we're just getting started. And he was like, no. I have anger issues, and most likely towards my wife. And I'm like, and that's one thing that I'm going to tell you, David, I condemn this. Like, so at that moment, I'm in my head, like, am I going to fire this kid? You know, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Right.
And he said to me, I had a problem with her. This was the problem. And I found myself saying to her, okay, it's okay. We are going to get through it, instead of me getting angry. And that, it's because of you. And Carl, that's the first time I've ever done that. And I was like, whoa. And at that moment, you realize, David, that this is bigger than yourself.
The crazy part is you told me the story before and I got goosebumps, and now I just got goosebumps again. Like, you know what I mean? It's a story that can't get old. And
let me tell you, I picked up the phone and I called my wife. I called my business partner, and I'm like, this is what just happened. And they were like, this is why you do what you do. Keep doing it.
Yeah. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Listen, it's interesting to think about this, because you changed that young man's life. Yeah. Right. Like, he's going to be
family's life. You know how things could have turned out.
Well, you changed that young man's life, and you changed his opportunity on relationships, not only with his wife, but for the people around him. Yeah. And for that, he's going to become a better husband, a better father, a better friend, right? A better sibling, better brother, you know? But more than that, let's get even deeper. How did you change her life?
Yeah.
Right? Like, whether she knows it or not, she's getting a changed man.
Yes.
Because of an opportunity. Yes, because of an opportunity that he took voluntarily, right? To coach with you. And then you did such a great job at delivery that he took it and ran with it. He did it. He did the work, which is so important, you know? And for him, the work is not over. He's got to keep going. He's got to create a habit out of that, right?
That's it.
You know?
Coaching doesn't work if you're not willing to work.
Yep. And they're the lives of people there that you influence. So a part of my coaching is to, you know, we mandate that our coaching clients find 3 people to be grateful for on a daily basis and let them know.
Yes.
Throughout that day. So there are 3 people that a message needs to go out saying, hey, by the way, I just want to let you know I'm grateful to you for X, right? And there are a couple of reasons why we do that. First of all, there's the self-gratitude, like the ability to be grateful for a lot of people is difficult, you know, because it doesn't come natural. Like I don't believe that the majority of people wake up in the morning and go, thank God for life, and the birds are singing and the sun is up, and you know what I mean? Like, but if you can train your brain to wake up in the morning, put your feet on the ground and go, thank you for waking me up today. Like, you know what I mean? Because it could not have happened.
No,
right?
It's true. Like, it is true. You know, one thing is like, I do it a little different to show them something. When I start my coaching, the very first thing I tell my coach actually taught me that. Tell me about your wins this week. What are the great things that happen? David, you'd be surprised. A lot of them just can't tell you. They don't
consider every win.
But they're so trained to be on the negative end that nothing to them is ever a win.
Right.
And now you're retraining their mind to say, hey, if you actually did one more push-up, that's a win. It's okay to celebrate that. And yes, it's very important, man.
Admiral McRaven, I don't know if you know who he is, Navy Admiral.
Yes.
You know who he is. Very famous for giving the make your bed speech, right?
Yeah, make your bed.
That's what that was based on. It was based on, you know, if you made your bed in the morning, that's your first accomplishment and win of the day.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could celebrate that. You started the day with a win. You know what I mean? And I don't people, but you know what? People are not trained to do it. You know, we talk about it all the time. We say the brain is a defense mechanism. The brain's main job is to defend the body, emotionally and physically. Right?
Never saw it that way.
Yeah. So if you think about that, the brain consistently tells you, no, don't do that. You might get hurt. Right? No, don't touch that. You might be hot. No, don't do that. Don't talk to that person because they might hurt you.
Yeah.
And the brain's job is to say, we don't want to be hurt. Right. So don't make that cold call because, you know, they're going to hurt your feelings, or don't speak to that girl on the other side of the bar because she doesn't want you, or don't, you know what I mean? That the brain is automatically designed to defend you from pain. And then many of us who come from, you know, I always say this, many of us who come from ethnicity, but and maybe you can help me out, but Latinos are famous for it, right? When we're kids, our mom's favorite word is no.
The same here.
Right, okay, so there it is. No, don't touch that. No, get down from there. No. And I always joke, and that's why there's no famous Puerto Rican stunt, you know, skier. You know what I mean?
That's true. Don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. You're gonna get hurt. Right. No, don't do that. Yeah, it's true.
And so as you grow up, not only is your brain designed to defend, but your mom raised you in a fashion in which you need to also defend yourself. So you've 10x'd your brain's ability to defend you. And now it takes time for you to train your mind to understand the wins of the day, the good things. And so my wife and I actually started doing something. Maybe this will help you or your clients too, but we started actually logging our wins for the day at the end of the day.
Oh, that's cool.
Right.
How so writing is amazing.
Yeah. So writing is euphoric, right? Because you could type it in your notes, but writing is euphoric. It sends a pleasure signal to the brain, right? And when you're writing something positive,
I have something for you on that.
Yeah. All right, cool. Go.
My thought process about writing is it's the closest way for you to talk to God.
Yes.
For me, a lot of people think like, hey, I can pray, which is great. I respect that. Or I can read the Bible, which is great. I respect that. But try to take a pen and a paper and start writing something. And you will understand how you can make that thing manifest. and how it comes clearly into your head. So to me, it's important that people take a pen and paper. I feel like that generation coming is going to lose a very important way to connect with the world, because they just typing everything. They don't even know how to write. And to me, it's the closest you are to God, man.
Yep. And that's why we force it. Like,
Yep.
If we do it, we force it, we require it. You'll see here, I got my whiteboard. This is my favorite thing in the world right now. Like, I'm like a child with this. Like, I feel like I'm 6 years old and I just got Voltron, right? Like, this is it. But the reason why I love it so much is because a whiteboard forces you to write things down and really like dissect things with writing. And you're right. It's writing creates endorphins, enhance the brain, that make it stronger, brighter, understandably. If you hear something positive, write that down, right? Don't try to remember it. Your brain's going to eject 70,000 things per second, right?
Sure.
Like, literally, is so much happening around you that your brain ejects 70,000 things per second. But when you write something down, it finds its way to creating a semi-personal stamp in your head. And then if you massively focus on it, it becomes a permanent stamp in your head, manifesting thereof,
No, I'm a very big fan of writing. I tell everybody, and it's great that actually my daughter inherited that. So she's handwriting everything, and I love that about her. So yes.
Oh, that's awesome. How old is she?
For 15 now, going on 16 soon.
Good for you, man.
Oh, she
Good
thinks it's 65.
Good for you, man. What are her goals, man? What does she want to do?
Right now, nobody knows. She's an artist, so it's just like she's all over the place, man. But I have a feeling I'm gonna end up having a lawyer.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's my feeling. But again, she's an artist. She loves to draw. She writes a lot. I think right now, if I go get everything, she's probably on 9 books.
Oh wow,
so she writes a lot. But and that makes her super smart.
Let me ask you this: with your kids, like, do you ever encourage them to look at your business as an opportunity for them to do it?
Yes, she does, but she's not a big fan of. I don't see her as an entrepreneur yet, but I think it's too early for me to tell. It's a little too early.
Look, I became an entrepreneur later in life, right? Like, we all have our path. And some people are not designed for it, by the way, which is okay, because we all need lawyers. We all need lawyers. So let her do that if that's the way it's gonna go. And equally, we all need artists.
No, for sure.
Because there'd be no beauty in the world without it.
It's for me, it's the most important thing for me right now is the connection with her. Because I have a testimony which is in my book, so I did write it so I can put it out there. I missed the first 6 years. I'm not gonna lie, because of course we are chasing the gold. We out there like spending from 6 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, and I missed those. And I won't lie to you, she became a little bit out of it. And one day she was 11, about 11 years old, and then I was at a listing appointment, and my phone kept ringing. So I answered my wife, and she was like, "The police are here." I'm like, "What's going on?" "Oh, they're saying that Liana saying she's gonna kill herself." I'm like, "Where is she?" "Oh, she's at tutoring." I'm like, "Fuck." So I raced to tutoring, and I got there. And I'm gonna tell you, David, the minute that I got there, the police got there at the same time, and then they went and talked to her, and then they were like, they have to big her actor. I'm like, "Why?" Because obviously she was slicing herself. Very superficial, nothing deep. The scars are not even there anymore. But because of that, they have to do their jobs, which I understand. And at that point, I realized as a dad, everything that I was missing, because she's always having something long sleeve on. So to me, it's a style. It's cold in the house, but she had a purpose for it. And imagine that they put her in the car, and I'm driving behind the police officer. And while I'm on Pines Boulevard, my wife said, "I forgot to turn off the stove." So now you imagine, I have no idea where they're taking her, and I have to go back. So I made the U-turn. I went, she turned off the stove, and then now, of course, because of this business, we have a lot of friends. So I made a few calls. I found out where she's going, and then boom, and they kept her for 4 days. Those were the worst days of my life. It's the first time we ever been apart, not able to see her. And I'm gonna tell you, from the minute she came out, I said I have to do things differently. And the advice that I would give everybody as a dad, if you are one, I made one change in my life. I said every Sunday, it's her day. So every Sunday morning we wake up, I take her to eat breakfast in a different spot. And you already know how big Miami and Broward is. So it's been almost 3 years. We never ate at the same place. So, but it took me 3 months, man, of doing this before she even speak one word in the car. I did it for 3 months every Sunday. She gets in the car, never said one thing. And today, she's literally my best friend.
Yeah. You know, it's that consistency in all relationships that we consistently miss out on, right? How are you building the balance? Because it's got to be more than just Sunday. Like, I know Sunday's her day, but you know, how are you building the balance between that you run?
I do one thing now, which is when I get home, I cannot walk in the house while I'm on the phone. So if I was in the car, that conversation is gonna stay in the car and stop. And I walked in the house as a dad. And from that minute, we stopped talking about the day, what happened in school, blah, blah. We'll spend 30, 40 minutes talking. And that alone is bringing the relationship closer and closer and closer. And at that point, she's just like, now she's just I would say, almost the perfect child.
So here's something interesting, because now you're saying I have a cutoff time. And I heard that loud and clear, because a lot of my clients have problems with cutoff times, and I'm, you know, coaching them into helping them train the people that they do business with that they have a cutoff time. You know, when you think of like, you know, some of my clients are title agents, and, you know, realtors call them at all hours of the night, and they always feel like they have to be available. If not, they're going to lose their clients. And I go, that's just not true. You just trained them. You've trained those people. The fact that you will actually pick up the phone.
Yep. It's like, so how did you? When a young kid is training you when they're doing bad stuff. What you're saying?
Yeah, how did you train everybody? How did you retrain everybody to understand this better?
I'll be honest with you. Literally, by me not answering at that particular time, and I always return my calls. Like right now, while we're talking, I'm sure I'm gonna have 15 missed calls. I will take a minute and return every single one of them. And because of that, one person gave me a compliment one day. The person says, "Carl, do you know why I mess with you?" I'm like, "Why?" "You are always available. If you're not, you return the call." And I'm like, wow, I never even paid somebody who was paying attention to that, you know. But he did. So that's
you know why? Because most business owners don't return the phone calls. Most business owners get so busy in their day of non-money making activities that they don't take care of the actual money making activities, which is picking up that phone call and dealing with a client who wants something from you.
Yeah, it's crazy. So for me, that's what it is. And then it's a fear, David. It's a fear that you think when you don't pick up the call, you're gonna lose. Yeah. And once you go over that hump, you realize that it's not true. And most people is getting them over that.
Right. So we got I just Googled this because it was the acronym of fear, right? Like the meaning of fear, or the acronym of fear, and it's false evidence appearing real.
Real.
Yeah. You know, it's us being afraid that the client's not going to like us anymore, and that it's just not reality, but we make it appear real enough to where we bow down and do everything else, and in turn end up hurting the people around us.
But if it's not even that, let's not even go through the people around us. Go through that particular client. David, you've been there a long time. I've been there a long time. Think about the exact client that you do everything for is the client that appreciate you less, or you end up losing anyway. The one you respect the boundaries, you have them for 20 years.
Yeah, you have them forever. Their mission in life is to respect you.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's my advice to everybody, man. It's like, you know, create your boundaries and set up the rules. People will follow. People respect individuals with rules.
That's incredible, man. I love that. I love that. I need to write that down when we finish. People respect individuals with rules, right? We talk about this consistently in our group coaching settings, you know, because some people catch on quicker than others. And so it's really great when the people that catch on and they go, oh my God, this is happening, and everyone is in alignment. And then the people who are not catching on go, okay, wait a minute, I'm doing something wrong. Like I need to make a change. I'm doing something wrong. What am I doing wrong? Why do I need to fix this immediately? You know what I mean? And it becomes a situation where, you get to be the one who dictates your schedule instead of allowing everybody else to push you around and dictate you around. And then now you turn around and you're hurting your daughter. You're hurting your spouse. You're hurting people around you, Yeah. It's interesting because you and I, we share some of those commonalities is, we're in the real estate industry. We both coach in the real estate industry. It's a big deal for us. Our passion is both changing lives, we want to see lives change in our communities, and we want to see people have the ability to purchase homes and have the ability to do things that they never dreamed possible. And then we turn around and look at people and go, hey, by the way, I'm also going to help you make 6 figures in this industry or more, and that's game changer. I think one of the other possibilities that we have is we're both family men, right?
Yes.
And look, I always tell people I come first, my family comes second, my business comes third, and people look at me crazy and go, wait a minute, like you come first, like what's the ego there? And I go, there's no ego. The process is that if I don't take care of myself, i.e. my recent heart attack, if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of my business. I can't take care of my family.
Exactly.
And if I'm not around, even worse if I'm not around, Carl. Sure. Listen, I'm laying in the hospital bed and I look up and I see my wife and my daughters and my mom and my friends. And I'm thinking to myself, first thought was, wow, what an overwhelming show of support, Second thought was, I almost fucked all these people over.
Yeah, you're responsible.
Right.
Accountable. Yeah. That's the first thing that happened to me too. I was like, I was not ready. Like, I was go something simple, man. My trust. Yeah. I kept procrastinating on this for years. And then, like, oh yeah, let's put this on the trust. Let's put this. Let's change that about the trust. And then that day when I woke up, I'm like, oh my God.
I better have my shit in order.
Probate would have killed everybody. Yeah. And then at that point, I'm like, yo, tomorrow morning, the trust has to be resolved. This has to be resolved. And that's when, I'll be honest with you, my life has totally changed. I have a better relationship with my friends. Like now, every Wednesday, I go play golf. Like, hey, I'm not that guy that's 24/7 busy anymore. Like, it's just the way it is, man.
Yeah. Man, I'm with you there. It's a tremendous thought process, and it sucks that for many of us,
that you have to go through this,
like borderline dead or borderline losing a child, for that to happen, for us to realize the importance of that. It's insane. My wife and I, we went to this event with Andy Elliott and Brad Lee this last weekend. We started talking about the future of our coaching business and the future of our real estate business and the future of our household in general. And it's very, when you can tie almost a near-death experience to that, the conversation gets so much more meaningful and deeper than ever before. It really gets to the point where you're like, oh my God, like this stuff needs to be laid out, by the way, because God forbid we build this together and then something happens to me. What do you do with this thing we built together?
Yeah.
Does it even continue? Can it continue? Right. And so you start to think about that and you go, oh my God, I need to build something that can continue.
Yeah. It's like, I'll tell you the same thing. That's the reason why I even ask you, how's Jennifer doing? Like my wife. So we own the property management company, which is thriving, which is great. And I always tell her she's the only company that actually making money. So, but I always keep assuming that she knows what to do. So whenever something goes wrong, I get upset, and I'm like, this is like, and then literally about 2 months ago, I said, why don't you enroll in my coaching? So every Saturday we're going to coach. And I'm not going to stay in the house. I literally leave the house. I go to the office and then I call her on Zoom and I'm coaching her. And last night she said, It was the best thing you ever done for me.
Oh man. Listen, by the way, I'm gonna need my assistant to cut this right here and send it to my wife.
When she said that, and I'm like, what do you mean? And then she was like, now you're teaching me instead of expecting from me.
Right. Big difference.
And I never thought about it.
Right. Big difference.
I never thought about it, man.
Yeah. It's expecting or participating.
Yep, definitely.
You know, because now you're participating.
Yeah. And everything is changing. In 2 months, the company's direction already changed.
Yeah. That's incredible, man. Well, congratulations on that. There are not many men in the world that could coach their wives. So good job. Good job on that, man. Good job on that. That's fucking insane. I love it.
It is, right? But the key word is I leave the house.
Right.
Just in case coaching goes wrong, then I don't have to go back.
You have a cool down period on your drive home. You open the door slowly, honey. Everything okay? That's awesome, man. So you know, speaking in the balance, we've talked about balance. We've talked about family, the importance of taking care of yourself. If you had to give entrepreneurs out there something else, something of value, something that's super meaningful, something that could change the course of the direction that they're going, what would it be?
My slogan. When I came up with that slogan, everybody thought I was talking about a client. My slogan is, I will work until you smile. And I came up with it because I was having a little bit of a depression and I was looking into the mirror and I said to myself, I will work until you smile. And work, everybody kept thinking it's about money, but
Right.
no, it's about everything. You work on your marriage until you smile. You work on your relationship with your kids until you smile. You work on your relationship with your friends. Everything you're doing, I will work until you smile. And you're talking about yourself. And that's my advice to them. Like everywhere you go, just say it. I will work until you smile. Everything you're doing, you have a relationship with God, work on it until you actually smile.
What advice do you give your daughter that you feel other parents need to be focusing on giving to their kids as well? I have one daughter, by the way. Is it
just one? Yes, just one.
Okay. So what advice do you give her, or what do you hold her accountable for, or what do you pour into her that you feel like parents need to do more of?
Whatever you do, go all the way. And I prove her that. And that's why I never say things that I don't finish. If I say I'm going to write a book, I prove it to her. If I say I'm going to do something, I make sure she knows I finish it. Because one thing that kids are faced today with the whole social media thing is their attention span just kept going left and right, left and right. And I did not want to have a daughter that today she wants to be a nurse, tomorrow she wants to be a doctor, the next day she wants to be a lawyer, after that she doesn't want to, and then at the end they end up being nothing. So I told her, everything you picked, go all the way. Do it. And the way that I finish with the advice is, it's okay to walk away from something or someone, but it's never okay to give up on something or someone. And she always asks me, what's the difference, Dad? When you give up, you admit defeat. When you walk away, you're bigger than it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay. So that is my advice. Tell them that. Walk away, but never give up.
How long have you been married?
Oh, 9 years now, but we've been together 19 years.
19 years. What's the secret to longevity in your relationship while being an entrepreneur? She's an entrepreneur too.
Yeah, she is too. So I'm honest. I'm the kind of guy that I say everything. A lot of marriage, what I tell to everybody is there's too many secrets. If you are with someone and they cannot know who you are as a person, you should not be with them. And a lot of times people feels like, hey, like an example, man, I'll take something stupid, which, you want to go to the strip club. if you feel like you have to lie to Jennifer about it, there's a problem. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way I see it. It's like, and if she's not okay with it, then you should know that's the choice you made. You married a woman. And that's just the way it is. And I feel like a lot of people, they're not honest. The thing that my wife would always tell you, with me, she knows what she gets.
Yeah.
If I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna go around, I'm not gonna do those things. I'll be like, hey, this is what I'm feeling today. This is what I want to do today. This is what I want. And I just do it. And I try to always do it with her. I never exclude her from anything. And it works for me. It does.
Yeah, that's pretty big piece. It's honesty and communication.
Yeah.
It's honesty and communication. Yeah, man. All right. And then look, this is a great conversation we're having that we can keep going, but I do want to ask you something because coming from the Haitian community and with all the stuff that's happening in Haiti right now, what's your sentiment on that? Because it's horrible what's going on. And I'd like to understand your sentiment and what you're seeing happen within the community.
It's so many things are going on that it's very difficult to tell you which one I pinpoint. The country itself, I saw it happen. I knew that was going to happen because there was never a sense of leadership, which is one of the things that a lot of people don't get. Even in a relationship, like just like you said, you, the family, and the business, that calls you a leader. And what happened is if you run a country without leadership, then this is what happened. Like yesterday, I was having a conversation with someone. There's not one real political science school in the country, but everybody's a politician. So you can imagine. So some of them goes to different countries, learn politics of the different country, and come to Haiti trying to run it. So it's chaos. The biggest issue that I see is the Biden administration, the way that they created that situation for everybody to leave Haiti. It's a great thing for a lot of families that finally get together, but it's also a bad thing because it's coming too many of them. Too many of them because what you don't know is as a family, now you take 3, 4, 5 people in your house with the expectation that they're going to leave you in 6 months. And then here they are 3 years. Now you have to pay the electricity bill, the water, all of those things. And instead of actually bringing the family together, it's chaos.
It's breaking them
now, because it's ripping them apart. Like this one came in, I'm driving a brand new car. He has to catch the bus. And then now he's asking himself, when am I going to have a brand new car? Why is he not buying me a car? There's no coaching for those people. And I'm going to tell you why I love about the story about the kid with anger issue. He's one of them. Yeah. So that's why I know what I'm dealing with. He was like, because of the anger, they kick him out of where he was with the family. You know what I mean? And then here it is. So it's, if you ever come across them, man, please coach them. They need that. They need to be integrated into the American society. Nobody's doing that for them.
Yeah. I think it all comes within community, right? Community needs to look out for community. The problem is that a lot of our communities tend to drag each other down.
It is.
I'll speak personally, right? Like I grew up in the Bronx and our neighborhood was predominantly Puerto Rican and Dominican, right? And no one was striving for the top. And that, in my opinion, is keeping everybody at the bottom.
Of course.
You know? And so if you're content with your rent controlled apartment and you're just waiting around at 35 years old for your parents to die so you could take over that rent control apartment, it's ridiculous.
It's true. You know? I was yesterday, I was reading something on Facebook. There's this drug kingpin, and he was saying that he went to one of those tribes in China, you know, the big guys. And then one of them was telling him that, you know, it's amazing. You guys don't even pay attention how valuable you are as Black people. And the guy was like, what do you mean by that? He said, you don't realize that everybody copy you. They copy the way you dance. They copy the way you dress. They copy you. And you don't ever understand why the Black community never gets far. It's because they're missing one piece, unity. They're missing unity. It's so easy to divide them because they don't support each other. And when he says that, and I'm like, my God, this is real. And forget Black people. It's anything. Let's say you don't
It's
support
any
Jennifer. Jennifer doesn't support you. It's easy for somebody to drop in.
Yeah.
It's so easy. And people don't get that. Unity, that's the word of today, man.
That's incredible. And it's so true. And I oftentimes have this conversation because I am probably the whitest Puerto Rican on the planet. Like, you know what I mean? I got green eyes, I got rosy cheeks, I look like Santa Claus, like the Puerto Rican Santa Claus, you know? And in my community growing up, there was a battle. I was too white for my community. And so you know, in the Puerto Rican Dominican community, you got white, you got brown, you got black. You know what I mean? And yeah, so and they're all Puerto Rican Dominican, but they don't even like each other. And it's so fucked up, man. And
yeah, it is
to say it that way. And then Latinos as a whole, there's very little unity there, right? Because Mexicans don't like Puerto Ricans, and Cubans don't like this one, and the Venezuelans don't like Argentinians, and et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, dude, this is just ridiculous.
It's too much. It's too much.
It is, but I think that we are at that level. I think we're so far apart from unity. And it would require a tremendous amount of leadership to bring people together. I think, though, what you said was important. You said, you know, husband and wife, that has to have a strong unity, because if it doesn't have a strong unity, then somebody can drop in, right?
Yeah.
And that's where we can control. We can control the nucleus of our family. If we can control the nucleus of our family and maybe infect our friends and people around us with that same energy, right? Then they have this tremendous opportunity to do the same. And so how you interact with your wife is how your daughter will expect her husband to interact with her, right? And so forth and so on. If you can create that over time and educate our community and educate our people and educate our friends and family and spread it as much as we can, if we know that we're doing good in this world, you know, just be able to spread that so much that over time, we may never see it ourselves, but over time, you'll begin to see stronger unity amongst humanity.
You're right.
You're right. I personally wish, I know I'm going to say something that doesn't seem like it could ever happen, but I personally wish that the unity was just human nature. Yeah, just human.
I say it to everybody.
Just human. Republican, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Democrat. Like, who gives a shit?
What, we just human. We have our heart will stop the same way. The blood flows the same way. We are human. I tell everybody that, and that's the one thing that you will see with me, man. I stay away as much as I can from labeling things. Like I despise when people put first black person to do this. Like, is that all that person is? You know, like come on, first Latino to do. No, this person work hard.
Forget about his Harvard degree. Like, you know what I mean? It's just based on the color of their skin or ethnicity.
Yeah, it's like, come on. So to me, yes, I truly believe that we have to preach it. We may not see it like you said, but we have to preach it. But I'm gonna tell you something though. I see it. I don't know if you see it with your daughters, but it's going down. I don't know. With my daughter, I can see it. She's that, you know, of course, pro-black or whatever, but it's not pro-black against white. Yeah. Very contrary to the old mentality they used to have. Yeah. All her friends, that she doesn't care what color skin, where they come from. Yeah. She really doesn't care. She loves to push, you know, this about black people. Yes, I would like to do this, but she does not make the difference.
Right.
So, and that's one thing I tell everybody.
We're seeing it more with our kids too.
Yeah, because I'm pro-Dominican, I don't have to be against Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's what most people don't get.
Yep. Our kids are like that too. That there's no they're even more, I think, open than anything I could ever imagine.
Yeah, me too. The same way.
You know, and our families are so mixed that, like, they see, you know, listen, they see it all. And it's right there in front of them. They're all family members. You know?
Great word you say. Expose.
Yep.
We have to expose. Yeah, we have to expose them.
I think exposure is tricky though, because it has to almost be controlled exposure, even though you want to expose them to everything. But there's a reason why TikTok is winning today, and it's exposure to the nonsense and the negativity and the controlled verbiage that's being produced for children, for people, for the lamb, for the sheep, and it's unfortunate that this is the world that we live in, that technology is being used to send messages to the lamb so that the lamb can just follow along.
All right, let me tell you, to finish this, I'll tell you. So where did you think my daughter learned to cut? There was a comics, like literally a comics. It's a cartoon. I saw her watching it and I'm like, okay, she's watching cartoons. And it's when she was at the hospital. So of course, from that point on, my IT, because I did computer science. So I went and hacked everything, put my little, firewalls and everything. And I said, let me watch what she was watching. And this cartoon called Gotcha Life, right? The cartoon was about teaching them how to kill themselves.
Oh my God.
How a brother and a sister should be having sex. How they can run away. That was the cartoon. And for me, it's a 10-year-old watching a cartoon, David. So you don't really pay attention because from where we're growing up, cartoons, it's cartoons.
Yeah.
And
Voltron, G.I. Joe, the Flintstones, oh my.
Let me tell you, one of the cartoons was teaching her how to do the noose. To put the rope. They actually show it. And we became very big in the school. We went to the school. We speak to all the parents about it. We speak to the principal, showing it to them. And I'm sure she ended up saving somebody else's life. I'm sure of that.
Huge. And you'll never know. You'll never know. And that goes back to the gratitude text, because we talk about self-fulfilling, but also fulfilling someone else, right?
Yes.
Because what if somebody wakes up that day and is thinking about killing themselves?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they receive a message from you on how grateful you are that they're alive.
Yeah.
Could you deter this person's direction?
Definitely.
100% you could. You know? Yeah, man. Dude, always a pleasure connecting with you, Carl.
The same here, man. The same. Keep doing the great job, man. Say hi to Jennifer, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Give our love to your family.
Always.
And thank you for being on the show, and thank you for sharing a little bit on all sides of the position. When I asked you about Haiti, I expected more of a political response, and you gave a very human response. And I think that that's incredible, and that needs to spread as much as possible, as much as possible, because there is a lot of hate in this world. And the hate is driven by leadership. It's good for them. It's good for them to create that kind of situation, because they get to win votes that way. And unfortunately, that affects us in all kinds of different aspects of life. And again, we just had a full podcast on how to be a strong entrepreneur and how to be a strong family man. And I appreciate you for that. I think a lot of men today are failing at family.
Yes.
And let's be a fighting force to change that, man.
I would love to, man. That's always.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you listened all the way to this point, it means that you had a good time and enjoyed the podcast, right? So if you enjoyed the podcast, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Believe it or not, we get thousands of views on YouTube, and we only get a few hundred people subscribing at a time. So if you're watching this, take an opportunity so that when we put videos out. We run the Freedom Achiever podcast, and we also have the David Adam Kurz show, which is completely different topics, subjects, and so forth and so on. So, we are excited to bring you the information that could potentially change your life. So please do this. Subscribe, like, comment, and share this information with somebody else. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Carl, thank you again.
Thank you, man.